Hello, everyone. Welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself, Anne Welsh. Today, I'll be talking to Mr. Eric Olie. What is so special about Mr. Eric Olie is that he is my father. He's someone I've admired for a very long time. Since I was a young girl, I've always looked up to my dad. He showed me different things. He showed me the way of life, the way to believe in myself, and the way to trust in my own abilities, even when I felt I've lost all hope. He never saw my sickle cell as a disadvantage when I was firstly diagnosed with sickle cell. Instead, he found ways to make sure that I could live with it and live to my fullest potential. Beat Mr. Eric Olie, my father. Again, everyone, welcome to Painless Universal Conversation with myself, Anne Welsh. As I previously mentioned, I'm with my father, and it's one of my greatest pleasures I have in life to interview my dad. Daddy, welcome to my conversation with myself, Anne Welsh. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
Fine.
How is Abuja, Nigeria?
It's quite hot, quite warm,
Yeah.
but we expect the rain in the evening.
Oh, I think we're dealing with both weathers on our end. Before we start, Daddy, I wanted you to tell us a little bit about who you are, and yes, everything about who you are is what where we want to start the conversation with.
My name is Eric Olie, retired Director, Ministry of Defense. I'm a writer, public affairs analyst. I'm presently based in Abuja, Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Daddy. That's you know, all my life, the reason I reached out to you to do this conversation with yourself, Dad, is because of how you've inspired me all my life, especially as a little girl who has suffered from sickle cell anemia. I want to start the conversation around that topic about sickle cell. How did you first find out that I had sickle cell, and how did you manage to deal with me as a child living in Africa, Nigeria, with sickle cell?
Yes, that's a very good question. You are still a very small girl when we discovered that you always feeling pains, but we didn't know what it is until we visited the doctor and he told us that you have a sickle cell anemia. It was then that we decided to do everything possible to enable you grow up just like a normal child. It wasn't easy though because we don't have good hospitals here, but the few we had were able to take care of you. And I recall when we were in London too, it wasn't an easy thing. And I recall the situation where my mother had to abandon everything and rush to the hospital with you. It's not easy at all for a child that is suffering from sickle cell anemia because of the deficit in the infrastructure and other things. But be it as it may be, God was always on your side. And today, I'm happy that He has been with you and you're growing up. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Daddy. So, a lot of parents out there are having kids now that are born recently diagnosed with sickle cell. What would you advise a father, particularly, who has just found out that his daughter has been diagnosed with sickle cell? What would you tell him to do about it, and how would you give him hope in times of this challenging time?
It's not easy, really. At least for the first time, who did not know that his child is a sickle cell anemia. My advice to them is when it is discovered, be patient, be prayerful, take the child to the hospital and ensure that all the medications, as she takes it, do not isolate the child from other people. And then let other children around know what is going on so that they won't they won't make her to play or make her or him to play so much. Because when they play, we discover that when they play so much that in the evening they start having pains all over. So in nutshell, they should care for the child, show love to the child, allow her to take her medication, and make sure that she takes her medication, show love. And then be prayerful to Almighty God. With God, everything is possible. And then do not, on any occasion, make the child feel unwanted. Make her feel that she is the best, that she's only a face. That if only she's taking her drugs, that she will be like any other person. Encourage her in any way possible. I know finances may not be easy, but then try your possible best to do what you feel should not a child who have a little problem.
That's very good, Dad. And what about for the individual, the man or woman who is living with sickle cell? What would be your advice to them for them to progress and go on to achieve greater things like their own sibling or their own relative cousins? What would you tell them to do?
A person who is living sickle cell, first of all, you study, know what are the things you ought to do. Luckily, we have good doctors in Nigeria who will advise you on the right thing to do. Take your medication. Do not overstress yourself, because when you overstress yourself, it goes in to affect you later. Then be prayerful. Talk in God. Do not see sickle cell anemia as a hindrance to whatever you want to achieve, because God has a purpose for bringing you into this world, and He knows why you have sickle cell anemia. And then with hope in Him, He will be there for you. Trust in God. Do not lean on your own understanding. No ailment in this life can make somebody not achieve whatever is you can achieve. But the key thing is to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Take your medications. Listen to the advice of the doctors. Read books to know what you're supposed to do and what you ought not to do. And then final analysis. Believe in God. Talk to God, and then He will direct your areas where you have confusion. Good luck.
Yeah.
And for those who have not married yet, who are about to marry, make sure you study, you look at the genotype of both your father, you as person who wants to marry, and the person you want to marry. Genotype will tell you whether you can marry the girl or you can marry the boy. Do not marry out of pity, because the consequences are real. So if I'm talking of those who didn't know of what they call genotype, but now that with the modern advancement in medicine, genotype now makes you to select whom to marry and whom not to marry. Do not marry out of pity. You and check the genotype, and the genotype say no, please stay there. Don't go beyond that.
Okay. Now that's really wonderful advice. I mean, I followed your advice all my life, and I think it's one of the reasons I'm who I am today, because every time I remember how you never treated me as a separated difference, I felt confident in really fitting in with the peers and doing what other people were doing. But this brings my really bugging question to you as an one thing I really admire you, that is that you are also an author. You worked with the Ministry of Defense, and you went on to become an author. And I think one of the things why you went on to do this is because of, obviously, you saw me suffering, and you saw how hard it was for me in Africa, how you had to look after me. And I realized that you are just an amazing person who has started to understand that if we don't look after our own continent, then no one else, our own children will not, will probably suffer unnecessarily. And this brings me to my question. I understand that over 40 years that you and other researchers have been carrying out research to find out the underlying reasons why Africa has not progressed, right, like Europe did under the capitalism system. I also heard that you and other famous researchers have found some reasons why this is so. Please, can you tell me about this research, why you did it, and what your findings were?
Thank you. That is a very good question. But I have to do a little bit of history
Okay.
so that people can understand why I started this research. I started this research over 40 years ago when the federal government sent me on course abroad. And they said the first impression speaks volume. The first thing I saw in Europe, especially UK, that there are not children on the street. And I asked that simple question: where are the children doing school hours? I expect them to be on the street, just like back in Africa or back in my country, where many children are on the street, hawking, and walking on the streets during school hours because they don't have money to go to school. And then I asked that question, why are the children? And they said they have what they call a social security system. I asked, what does it mean? And they tell me that social security system means simply means deliberate structures put in place by the government to enable everybody with or without a father, rich or poor, have no uncle, have no relation, to have access to basic needs, i.e., healthcare, education. That is one thing I found outstanding in Europe. And also discovered that these people have what we call efficient mortgage, insurance, pension, credit system, loan system, etc. that are tailored within the confines of people's legitimate income. What it means is that as the citizens of that country, everybody is have access to healthcare, so you don't need to. Uh, you will go to school if you don't have money, but if you have money, okay, it's up to you whether to take private school or public school. Public school is there for everybody. Then healthcare, basic healthcare. One thing I noticed is basic healthcare is available to everybody. And then I also noticed that they operate, as I said, very good insurance and mortgage system that are tailored within confines of people's legitimate income. What that means is that people can afford anything they want. For instance, you can go in and buy a car on credit, and be paying small. And then also, you can own your own house on mortgage, which are tailored within the confines of your income. It's not a situation where you are earning 1 million and they give you a house of 10 million. As it is common all over some clients. So I noticed that with that in place, workers, were able to live on their legitimate income. Two, those who have no job are taken care of, so they don't depend on the few that are working. What all this means is that their workers could live on their legitimate income. The extended family system, which we have in Nigeria or Africa, is not doesn't worry anybody because those who are your brothers or your sisters, they also have access to healthcare, basic education. They use the system that government has put in place to ensure they move to the next level. So you who is working, you're not under financial pressure. One thing I noticed in Africa and Nigeria is that the few that are working are under serious financial pressure, which sometimes they carry it to the people they are meant to serve. So it was based on that analysis of all this that I wrote my first and second book.
Mm. Wow. And so yeah, have you guys your team, have you come to the findings of your research of what you found? You've done the research, but what's now the findings?
After writing yes, let me just do a little synopsis.
Mm.
After writing my first and second book, the
Mm.
provisions of the uh, were seen by one senator in Nigeria, and he said he took it to this National Assembly, and they said that we are not right for social security system. So in a nutshell, we continue with our research to find out, one, why is it that every country in Europe has a well-organized social security system, whatever name for it, and why would the Africans not make it an integral part of their social security system? That is what we didn't understand, because in Africa, they sort of run a social ideology here that means no money, no healthcare, no uh, housing. In other words, it is only when you have money you can go to school. It's only when you have money you can have access to healthcare. All these things are what makes it impossible or makes it difficult for Africans to live within their legitimate income. So we carried out further research. And where do we go to find the answers? We now examine the two key systems in the world. How did they start?
Mm.
What really is the problem. In a nutshell, what we discovered is that socialist system, many countries were going to the lines of socialism until the proponents of the capitalist system came up with their decision. But let me cut it short. Under the socialist dispensation, which everybody is saying they don't like, the reason is very, very easy. The reason why proponents of capitalist system didn't like socialist ideology is that uh, the, 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 the strategic industries, companies, the government is responsible for running the industries and use the proceeds to take care of the people. Now, the proponents of capitalist system said no, allow us to do these things. We do it to pay you tax. So on further examination, we found out that the proponents of capitalist system were only after profit motive. Profit motive. That is how they can make profit. And they came up with a conclusion that vision, under socialist dispensation, vision, commitment, ideas are lacking.
Mm.
So that is just an aspect of why socialist was not, people were against it. But be it as it may, the socialist vision, I mean, the social ideology under socialist system is that government should take care of the welfare of the people. And we discovered that when you look around, Cuba, all these communities, communist country, what is keeping them today is that single ideology. That is, government is taking care of the welfare of the people, i.e., their housing, their healthcare, their transportation, everything. So that is why people love socialism. But like I said, socialist system, when you look at the economic vision of socialist system, it breeds corruption, it breeds laziness. So I give it to the capitalist system ideology, economic vision that allow us to, that is, privatize these key strategic industries, and then we will pay tax. But one thing we discovered in the analysis is that the place of capitalist system, while advocating that they should run these industries themselves, they never said anything about the socialist vision, the socialist system. Then we went further. What we discovered in the countries that are doing well is that they practice what is called economic vision capitalist system, along with social vision or socialist system. What does that mean? It means that they are privatized their key strategic industries in the hands of private sector, quite all right. But they also put in place socialist ideology that is taking care of people through what we call social security system, social inclusion. So when you hear any word that they are using in Europe, either social security, either social inclusion, it's all the same thing. So at what point did we have problem? That's African countries. African countries have this problem from the way they accepted to practice capitalist system without marrying it with a socialist vision. That is, without running it with a system where every child, every citizen can have access to healthcare, education, blah, blah, blah. So what you see in Europe is that they are running economic vision of capitalist system along with social vision of socialist system. So don't be deceived with the name you call it. Like some call it social security, some call it. That's why you hear terms like unemployment benefit, child benefit, uh, insurance, mortgage system. All these are tailored within the confines of people's. Tailored for human capital development. In other words, for you to understand what I'm saying,
Yeah.
when you say somebody in Africa 80,000 naira, considered by high by other African standards, is it out of this 80,000 naira that his children, let's say he has three, will have access to healthcare, education, housing, and himself now out of that 80,000 naira, go to build his own house where he can stay. Is it out of this 80,000 naira he take care of extended family relations? But in Europe, when you are any let's say the same 80,000 naira, Now you pay your social security tax of say 1,000. Then basic healthcare, every child you have access to basic healthcare. Then basic education, they have access to basic education. Then advanced healthcare, they can use insurance to take care of that. Then when the child comes out of university, uh, he is helped to get a job and placed on unemployment benefits until he gets a job. So the sum in total of it is that the man who is working, after paying his social security tax, his children will now be able to have access to healthcare, basic healthcare, basic education.
That's
And
true.
then because he pays, if he wants advanced healthcare, advanced education, you can use insurance. You are living in Britain, you know that even advanced healthcare, advanced education, it's possible. But some people can use loan. So the state structure is not a free meal. It's only saying, look, I understand your situation. I understand that 80,000 naira cannot be enough for you.
Hmm.
Please, pay the social security tax. Your children will not have access to it. Use insurance when you have any problem. That is, you want to have access to basic advanced healthcare, advanced education. And then, if by chance the child is on his own, you can use loan. When you go to America, loan is a common phenomenon. Students use loan. But
No.
in Africa, all these things are not there.
Yeah.
That very man that is working in responsible for everything out of that 80,000 naira.
Hmm.
And that is why he comes to office looking for how he can meet up with basic needs.
Hmm.
So the import of the state structure is that it enables those who are working to be able to live on their legitimate income. That's one. Two.
Hmm.
It enables those who have no father, no mother, to be able to have access to education, healthcare, blah blah blah.
Now
And
that
that is
I think, yeah. So let me go on to the next question because I think I don't want people to lose track of understanding what your key messages are. Um, and so, what do you think? You've done the research and everything. So, what do you think that the main reasons for the social under social performance recorded in Africa under the capitalist system?
yeah. Okay. Let me go straight to the point. The main reason is that Africa uh, embrace capitalist system.
Mm,
Without they have to marry the economic vision of capitalist system along with taking care of human capital.
mm,
So in other words, they have to run it pari passu with the economic vision of capitalist system.
mm,
What I mean is, for instance, in Nigeria now, we sort of run no money, no healthcare, no education, social ideology. And where even they have those state structures, some of them are not working as expected. So Africa should go back to drawing board and invest in their human capital along with the practice of capitalist system.
okay.
Yes, what I'm trying to okay, it's okay to privatize their key strategic industries, but
Mm,
also you must understand you must do it along with a structure that take care of your human capital. That
mm,
is why when somebody in Africa is working, not able to live on his income, and when a key stakeholder like a worker can live on his legitimate income, you understand what that means. That means there's massive under
yeah.
corruption. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So, but if they key in, if they practice capitalist system,
Mm,
economic vision capital, along with taking care of their human capital
yes.
through state structures, then every child will understand he can go to school. Then the worker that once he pays his social security tax, he knows he's assured of basic for his children, and also those basic healthcare, basic education. It's assured for the extended family relations, and also he can use the insurance, other things to make sure that he can live on his legitimate income. So the key word is here: human capital development. Whatever way you want it, to run around pari passu, some people may say, pari passu with economic policies. Because once you are running economic policies and you now the key stakeholders who are your workers, you give them 10 million to go and do something, they will start thinking of their own welfare first. So that is what Europe got from making state structures or social security system an integral part of their economic ideology.
That's
So
true.
if you can do that in Africa, marry it wrong, you see us. So in final analysis, I want to use this opportunity to say we have discovered that failure to restructure Nigeria, religion, ethnicity, quest for uh, separatism, etc., are not the fundamental problem holding us from moving to the next level. In other words, if we have a state structures in 36 states of the Nigerian Federation and federal capital territory, people will come to know that they are even done whatever they are looking for, you can get it.
Yeah.
Is it access to healthcare? Is access to education? State structure takes care of it. Is it so maybe perhaps the only thing Nigeria can do is just devolution of power to the federal federating states. That's all they need. And Nigeria is as good as to go, just like any other African country.
Yeah.
So, in other words, whatever capitalist system you are operating, vis-a-vis private sector driven economy, you must also marry it with a state structure, alias social security system, alias social inclusion. Because with social inclusion in place, the man who is going to do the work for you, the man who is going to carry the economic policy, will now observe himself and say, oh, I can use this structure to do within my the maintenance income. That is why Europe is different.
Okay.
That's
Next question here. What advice would you give African leaders in light of your research and your findings?
the advice is very clear from the analysis. Your key focus must be on your human capital development, along with your economic policies, whichever you are doing. Do not run a system where children are on the street wasting away, working during school hours. Would use that state structure to ensure that every child, every citizen have access to healthcare. And when you do it, you develop you enhance human capital development, and by extension, you reduce insecurity problem
Hmm, that's true.
and poverty.
Yeah.
Yes, when somebody is a key listen, a child that is very poor, who cannot no mother, no father, is easy to be recruited.
Yes, that's true.
But through the state structures, you can meet to any less level, no problem. Two, when you have a state structure, your workers will be able to live on their legitimate income. That means the level of corruption will come down. When you have a state structure in Africa, it will change the economic and social dynamics of Africa, i.e., reference to the way they elect their political office leaders or seekers. Political office leaders now tend to be elected based on religion and ethnicity. But when they know that when you see a state structure in place, political office holders will do what Europe is doing. What the politicians in Europe, what are politicians in Europe doing? They use improvement in state structure. So, in other words, let me put it so that you understand it. A and B are contesting. A say, oh, please vote for me. I understand that you already have under state structures, you can go to school, blah, blah, blah. But I will use improvement. I'll give you water. I'll give you good road. Then the other man, B said, vote for me. I'm Igbo. I'm Hausa. From his body language, you can see he's tending towards religion. So these two, who do we vote? Of course, you vote for the first man who says, oh, I vote for me. I already know that through state structure, your children can go to school. Through state structure, you can have access to healthcare. Through state structure, you can use insurance, blah, blah, to have access to basic, advanced healthcare, advanced education.
Yeah.
Then the other man who is saying, vote for me because I be Igbo, about this. No. So state structure, if African leaders can put state structure or make state structure an integral part of their capitalist system and ideology, sky is the limit.
Absolutely.
Right? Train your men, like bring it to close. If you have 4 children and you train them, sky is the limit. But if you leave them as most Africans are doing, then there's a problem. And I want to
I still have
to
a question. which is about when do you expect to publish the book that you're finding, because you've written the first book and the second book, and then you're on the third. When do you expect to publish this book, and what names do you intend to give it? Because you've done so much research with this book. And I think for me, these are the critical thing, because anyone watching this will want to know, okay, Mr. Eric has said so much valuable thing about the African system, the capitalism, and I want to read your book. When do you expect this book to be out there?
Yeah, first of all, the name of the book is, we are still toying with the name of the book, but we have come to the conclusion that the name should be Help Ignorance Destroying Nigeria. Help Ignorance Destroying Nigeria.
Wow.
And then the Western Connection. And then the subtitle of the book is Why Africa May Remain Underdeveloped, the Shithole of the World. May remain. I see Africa as growing. I see Africa as the thing to be in the next generation. Once the leaders understand that the key thing is their human capital, develop their human capital. All over Africa, where you go to Burundi, you see children on the streets. You see them in UK, the school hours. Go. So your human capital is the first. You don't send a worker to go and chase after or give him some money to go and do something. He will stay thinking of his pocket. Don't worry, Africans. Once African leaders understand that there will be a state structure that take care of those basics, because that is just what Europe did. That is the complete disconnection Africa got on the practice of capitalism. Why do I say so? Some people think it's race. It's not race. If it is race, our people will not be making waves in this thing. You know that a car consultant is from the north. The best doctor is from the southwest. The one who removes a child from the stomach and put it back. Then the IT consultant, I remember his name, Megwala, is from southeast. So we're not limited. God didn't limit anybody. Our limitation is caused by ignorance. We embrace capitalist system without understanding that there's a problem. Now, Europe is calling it state structure. They call it social inclusion. They call it social security system.
Absolutely.
All the countries, like I mentioned, all the countries in Europe have a well-organized state structure and social inclusion. So it is what made them, that's human capital development, along with the vision of the economic vision of capitalist system that set them apart. So let's go back and develop a human capital using the means they used, and we see Africa rising beyond.
But you haven't. When would your book? When do we expect your book to be out?
Sorry.
When do we expect your book to be out? Your book.
As a retired man, I don't have funds to to do most of the things, but I will be pleading on friends to help me to do it. So the first thing I have to do is to print 10 copies and come to the TV and tell them this is what I've seen. This is what I've seen. This is what I've seen.
So what's the hope for Africa? What's your hope for Africa and your final message of hope to the people of Africa and to younger people looking up to you and watching this interview? What's your message of hope?
My message of hope is God said towards the end time, the old men will dream dreams and will see vision. I see vision of hope for Africa. I see great hope for Africa. If Africa can do all the Africa needs to do, yes, economic vision of capitalist system is okay, but marry it with make state structure an integral part of your social ideology. Make sure that you're running a system where every child, where every individual who use this state structure, like I said, it's just an alternative. And I said again, it's not a free meal because it recognizes it uses the concept of social security tax, insurance, mortgage, and investment by the government on the issue on transportation, food security, and housing to ensure affordability and availability. So the key thing to Africa is develop your human capital. If you develop your human capital, okay, look at the COVID-19 now. It's not our doctors. When the world have rejected everybody, you can't travel to any country in the world now. Not so. You can't travel to any country. So it is your human capital that the way you develop them, the way we develop our doctors, they are treating us. So in other words, that with COVID-19 has given us example of why we should develop our human capital. It is those doctors who trained and retained that are treating us. We can't travel out. So if you develop our human capital, make sure they can live within the confines of their legitimate income through state structures, then the sky is the limit for Africa.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for this great message of hope. And we're looking forward to seeing your book when it's out so we could talk more about it when we have a copy to share with others. Thank you so much. And I wish you a lovely day in Abuja, Nigeria.
God bless. Bye-bye.